Almost every country in the Middle East has been devastated by armed conflicts and foreign interventions. Iraq, Afghanistan, Libya, and Syria are stark examples of this devastation. However, one country has managed to withstand the tide of destruction: Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia has built an exceptionally close relationship with the West, particularly the United States. This relationship dates back to World War II, when King Abdulaziz met with President Franklin D. Roosevelt on board the USS Quincy in the Suez Canal. This meeting resulted in a historic agreement, where the United States would guarantee Saudi Arabia's security in exchange for a stable oil supply. This agreement formed the basis of a strategic alliance between Saudi Arabia and the United States that has endured to this day. Since then, the relationship between the two countries has continued to evolve. The United States has provided Saudi Arabia with military protection from regional threats, while Saudi Arabia has become the West's primary oil supplier. During the Cold War, Saudi Arabia and the United States united to counter Soviet influence in the Middle East. In 1991, Saudi Arabia even allowed American troops to be stationed on its territory during the Gulf War against Iraq. This demonstrates the high level of trust between the two nations. Saudi Arabia's economy is heavily reliant on oil, with approximately 50% of the country's GDP derived from the oil sector. Meanwhile, oil exports account for over 90% of the country's total national exports. Western nations, primarily the United States and Europe, are the main consumers of Saudi oil. This dependence has created a mutually beneficial relationship that is difficult to ignore. Apart from being a major oil supplier, Saudi Arabia has also made significant investments in the United States. The Saudi Public Investment Fund has a portfolio of investments in various technology companies and infrastructure projects in America and Europe. This move not only secures economic ties but also opens up opportunities for Saudi economic diversification. However, with the increasing domestic oil production in the United States through fracking technology and energy diversification, Saudi Arabia began to develop a new economic strategy, Vision 2030. This vision, initiated by Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, aims to reduce dependence on oil and develop other sectors such as tourism, entertainment, and technology. To realize this vision, Saudi Arabia still requires a close relationship with the United States. As a Sunni-majority country, Saudi Arabia also needs military support from the United States to counterbalance Iran's power, which has significant influence in Lebanon and Yemen through affiliated militia groups. Since the Iran-Iraq War between 1980 and 1988, Saudi Arabia has consistently relied on its alliance with the West to counter the Iranian threat. The United States has been Saudi Arabia's primary arms supplier, with a $110 billion arms deal signed in 2017. With arms supplies and military training from the United States, Saudi Arabia has managed to maintain its military superiority in the Arab region. However, Saudi Arabia is also in a complex position, facing international pressure to improve its human rights record while maintaining good relations with the United States. Since Mohammed bin Salman rose to power in Saudi Arabia, the country has introduced a series of social reforms unprecedented in its history. Strict social restrictions, such as the ban on women driving and participating in sports, have been relaxed. This move not only aims to improve Saudi Arabia's reputation globally but also to attract more foreign investment by building a more open image. As a result, Saudi Arabia hopes to secure Western support and attract more cooperation in the technology, entertainment, and tourism sectors. It can be understood that Saudi Arabia chooses to ally with the United States and Western countries due to a balance of strategic economic and security interests. By maintaining good relations with the West, Saudi Arabia can ensure domestic stability, maintain economic superiority, and secure its position in the Middle East. In contrast, other countries in the region that rejected Western dominance eventually suffered intervention and destruction. Saudi Arabia has built a strong relationship with the United States since the 1940s, based on economic, political, military, and security interests. U.S. support for Saudi Arabia has had a significant impact on the country. In recent years, Saudi Arabia has introduced a new economic vision and more progressive social reforms, making the country not only known as an oil-producing nation but also as an economic and tourism hub in the Middle East.